happened just before sunrise on a quiet stretch of coastline in northern Maine. The beach was empty, the tide low, and the sky still dark when a local fisherman named Robert Dunn noticed something unusual moving in the water. At first, he thought it was debris being pushed in by the waves. Then the shape rose higher. A person, a man. Robert froze as the figure emerged slowly from the ocean, water streaming from his clothes. The man walked with an unsteady but determined pace, as if he had been traveling a long distance. He wasn't swimming toward the beach. He was walking straight out of the deep water, step after step, until he reached the shore and collapsed to his knees. Robert rushed toward him. The man was disoriented, shivering, and barely conscious. His clothes were old, so old they looked decades out of place. A thin wool jacket, worn trousers, and shoes that had absorbed so much seawater they looked swollen. When Robert asked what happened, the man murmured something unintelligible, then fainted in the sand. Paramedics arrived minutes later. The man had no ID, no wallet, no phone. His clothing tags were faded beyond recognition. At the hospital, he regained consciousness and began asking questions that made little sense. What year it was, who president was, whether a cargo vessel named Madeline Pierce had made port. When doctors asked if he remembered his name, he answered clearly, Daniel Reeves. Police searched for that name. What they found made the situation far more complicated. According to state records, Daniel Reeves had died in 1983. Investigators contacted his surviving relatives, who were still living in the region. They confirmed the impossible. Daniel Reeves had vanished during a storm while working aboard a small commercial vessel. His body was never recovered, but he was declared legally dead after 3 months. When shown recent photos of the man found on the beach, Daniel's younger brother went pale. He said the man looked exactly like Daniel did around the time he disappeared. Same hairline, same jaw, same faint scar above the eyebrow. But the brother was now in his 60s, while Daniel appeared no older than 30. Medical tests revealed no signs of prolonged exposure to the sea, no salt water in the lungs, no tissue damage from cold water. His body temperature was low, but stable, more like someone who had been outside briefly, not someone emerging from the northern Atlantic before dawn. The strangest discovery came when they analyzed his blood. It showed minor anomalies consistent with old preservation fluids, compounds once used in certain shipping industries but banned decades ago. No modern medical explanation accounted for their presence. When questioned, Daniel insisted he had been working aboard his vessel the night before. He described the storm, the deck flooding and falling overboard. He believed only hours had passed. For everyone else, nearly 40 years had gone by. Authorities considered amnesia, psychological trauma, even impersonation. But his fingerprints matched the old records exactly, records that hadn't been accessed or altered since the 1980s. As the investigation deepened, one detail unsettled everyone involved. Daniel kept asking about a light he had seen underwater just before losing consciousness. He described it not as a reflection or a flare, but as a fixed, circular glow far below, steady and bright, as if coming from a structure rather than from the surface. When divers surveyed the coastal area where he supposedly fell, they found nothing. No wreckage, no unusual terrain, no lights of any kind. But the divers did report something else, a region of water where compasses behaved erratically and depth readings fluctuated by dozens of meters without cause. After 2 days in the hospital, Daniel suddenly disappeared. Security footage showed him leaving his room at 3:14 a.m., walking calmly down the hallway and exiting through a side door. No one saw him again. Search teams combed the coastline for weeks. All they found were wet footprints on the sand leading back toward the water and ending abruptly near the shoreline. The case remains open. The fingerprints, DNA, physical features, and historical records all point to one conclusion. The man who walked out of the ocean was Daniel Reeves, the same man lost at sea 4 decades earlier. How he survived, why he hadn't aged, and what he saw beneath the water remain unanswered. Some investigators believe he returned from a pocket of the sea we still don't understand. Others think he crossed paths with something deep below the ocean floor, something capable of distorting time or preserving life. And there are those who believe he didn't survive at all, not in the way we think. Whatever the truth is, the ocean gave him back, at least for a moment.